Alright, welcome back to another One Piece card game video. So today we're going to go through OP04 Issho, as you can see here and from the title. I've already done the other deck, the Doffy deck, which is super fun. A little bit of a different style, but definitely features all of the multicolored leaders that are coming out of OP04, and they're all pretty dang fun. The only one I don't really like is VV, but that's only because of the playability. But when it comes to Issho, she combines two pretty cool colors in black and green, and that combines supernovas, all the navy stuff, and even some of the other cool black cards that you can play. And what we're going to go through today is just more of a beginner guide, all the things you need to know about Issho in general, some of the play lines, and as well as just the overall archetypal cards, and some gameplay afterwards, so that way it all kind of comes together with not only my experience, but you can always tell me what I've done right or wrong in the comments below. All right, let's start off with the leader. So the leader is cool. You know, it has pretty two, I would say, simple effects. One being Dawn 1, your turn, you get 1 or -1 cost to all your opponent's characters, which does help when you're going against like 4 drops, and you can Kobe, or you can go against 6 drops, and then you can use Sakazuki, or you can use Susuru or Tashigi in order to reduce those costs as well. So it really depends on the situation, but it does come in handy with only 1 Dawn being there. And at the end of the turn, you get to pay 1 Dawn and then set up one of your characters, cost of 5 or less, as active, which is nice because it's 5 or less, not just 5. Some of the text in some of the newer cards, like the 8 drop we're going to talk about in a little bit, it does restrict only to 5. But again, with black and as well as green, it doesn't say which color. You can untap either one, and it does come in handy, i.e. if you want to swing with your Borsalino and then restand it, if you want to swing with your Kuzan and restand it, if you want to swing with your Sabo or Trafalgar Law, any of those guys, those are all really cool targets in order to utilize this leader's effect. So when you take a look at some of the new support for OP04 in green and black, there's really not much to talk about when it comes to Issho. A lot of the stuff that you're going to be putting in your deck is going to be older things, like obviously supernovas, all of the black removal and support from the last couple sets and things like that. You know, Sabo, and as well as Don Flamingo, the 10 drop here on the right. Both of them are better in their respective decks, right? So Sabo is better in the Rebecca deck, and then obviously Doflamingo is better in the Doflamingo deck. But you can still play both. You can restand Sabo if you really wanted to. You can filter out your deck if you want to as well. And as well as Doflamingo can just have a better top end, or at least just one of those cards that they can't get around. It's just you can't really use your leader effects because you need the Dawn open for that. But this middle card, this 8 drop, really does a number, or at least helps the deck if you want to use some of the new support. Now this 8 drop really caters towards this leader because not only that on play for 8 you can play 1 green character from your hand, but during your opponent's turn, if this is rested, obviously you can rest it when you play it, or when you swing it, characters with energy costs or original cost of 5 can't be KO'd. It's pretty well into the deck, and just for the leader, like I said, because you just end up playing more and more of these 5 costs, and on 8 it's not too bad to play him into Trafalgar Law, and then the 5 drop that is the blocker. You can bounce something back like a brand new or a Bonnie, and then play out something like a Kobe, and those lines of plays end up being pretty fun, and as well as pretty versatile for the deck itself. Alright, finally here is the deck list. Most of the stuff you probably have already seen, only because it's mostly older cards from OP01, OP02, and OP03. And the thing about this leader is that the goal is you really want to establish your 5 drops, continue to swing with them, and then restand anything that's important. So again, any of your Kuzans, any of your Borsalinos, your Trafalgar Laws, etc. The 8 drop Dion Quixote is useful in the way of it prevents anything from being removed as long as it's on the field, which is nice because your 5-drop Law your restood 5-drop other starter deck law, and as well as your X-Drake are all kind of protected from that. Borsalino has its own protection, which is nice because again you can restand it after you swing with it on your turn, and it's protected on basically their turn. And then Sakazuki is still in this without the sight of the 8-drop Issho. So Sakazuki and as well as the 8-drop Don Quixote, both of these guys are in place of the 8-drop Issho. So if your style and as well as you think it's as important, then you should probably look at those to remove or replace. You know, you can always go down 2 or 2 of each and then add 2 Issho, or just remove all 3 of one and then add 3 Issho. It just really depends on what kind of playstyle and what you really prioritize. And I think a lot of people end up playing around Issho, like good players end up doing that anyway. So I just didn't feel like, I felt like 8-drop Don Quixote was cooler, and as well as gives a little bit more value in the deck that you like for this deck specifically. So again, it really comes down to what you prioritize. Now when it comes to turn by turn, going first, you really do want to start out with a Bonnie, right? Going second, it becomes brand new. Second turn going first usually is a brand new into Bonnie, right? The Bonnie effect. Or if you feel like you want to swing with 2 done underneath your leader to go 7 and then use the Bonnie, that type of thing. Kobe is also an option, but generally you really want to save that with your leader effect or some of these other reduction effects that you might use. Going second on 4 Dawn, of course, Kuzan is going to be the best bet for you. Not only that, this helps you remove literally anything with Kobe as well as Sakazuki. Again, the big Kuzan, the 10-drop, is also an option if you really think that you don't have enough removal. But honestly, I like the aggression that you can have and the protection that you can have between the 8-drops, the blockers, etc. Kuzan draws you a card, gets it out of your hand to replace itself with something probably more useful, and then you can go into anything else later into those turns. And of course, the general black going second option of Sakazuki on 6 Dawn, 8 Dawn with the Don Quixote, and then etc. basically. Or if you want to be a little bit more defensive, you're going against Zoro or something like that, Borsalino is also an option. And of course you have options for the 5-drop law in the way of brand new Killer and as well as Kobe. Really, the most important part is the Kobe's come back to hand after maybe you swing with it going 5, or the Julie and as well as Bonnie's and as well as brand news also come back to hand. So that way you can play it again or have that as an option. The reason why we have Paradise Waterfall is because I found it a little bit better in the way of using your leader effect to restand stuff. And if you didn't restand your law and you swung with it and you restood something else like a Borsalino or something like that, you can still use either Paradise Waterfall for either one. You can use it for law or a Borsalino. It just felt like since you could have both on the board, which is the whole point of having a multicolored leader, it feels a little bit better in order to use that. You can easily switch out Paradise Waterfall in this build for Pump Gibson if you feel like you would like to have it searchable. It's just that having 3 Dawn open in order to use that and as well as your leader effect and maybe even your other leader effect to have one underneath, or maybe even anything else to use your Dawn, just feels like it's not efficient. And Paradise Waterfall just makes that easy for you. If it's in your hand, you're able to use it. If it's not, then it's not. All right, so the first game here is going to be against our boy Kaido, which is the blue-purple Kaido. Got some support in OP04 in general for both colors, so it kind of makes sense that people are using it and just trying it out. I used to like the leader quite a lot. It just seemed like a fun type of leader just to kind of get both of these colors to work basically. It started out pretty normal going second. Killer isn't like the totally best play to play on the first turn. You really want that brand new, but it is what it is on that one. What's interesting here is that you can swing with Borsalino. You can bait the queen from blocking, and then you can Susuru and then pop it with X-Drake. But I mean, I don't think we're gonna go that entire route So that's fine because we went ahead and restood the Borsellino that we swung with 5, and then placed a Dawn underneath Killer. But he bottom decked it with 3,000 worlds, so all of that just doesn't really mean anything. So I think what we can do is swing here, swing with the leader, restand the Borsellino, and then place a Dawn underneath the Killer as well, which is exactly what we did. And we did draw 2 cards with Kuzan as well as brand new. The draw on this deck is pretty good, and I think overall you can end up having a pretty decent hand, like a decent hand size basically. He did play the 7-8, which is a big old boy. I went ahead and used my Borsellino, not Borsellino, what am I saying? My Don Quixote, the 8-drop, and then play the Trafalgar Law after swinging with the Kuzan to reduce it, and then Kobe'd it out of game. So that's one way to remove bigger threats like that. The only scary part now is that I have a huge board against purple that can play the 10-drop Kaido, which I'm pretty sure he's going to do, because that is one of the better cards to play in this deck for sure. I'm going to keep using my leader. I have 2 blockers though, so it's not too big of a deal to do either one. I got a few options here. I think I swing 6 here, reduce literally anything. I can play a Kobe if I wanted to, and then also 8 is nice because it is 2 cards out of this 6k blocker. And so he does take that one. We're gonna go probably 6 here to kind of meet with these queens. 1-5 here to see if we can bait out one of the blocks, and then we can just swing 8 with the Trafalgar Law. And I think what we can do is either pay 5, replace the block. Yeah, we're gonna replace that, and then just pass turn. I think it was fine to swing. I don't think there was anything too crazy there, especially since he can just 3,000 worlds it. So that's always fun. Like the other video that I just posted. That is the way of the blue right now. I give up on the Kuzan, which is fine. I'm gonna get the brand new, probably play the Kuzan again, so it doesn't really matter what happened there. I could probably take game here, but honestly it's just safer to, you know, go for the board, so that way we can dwindle down his hand just a tad. I think what we're gonna do here is sing 6. We have the reduced cost from the leader, which doesn't matter too much, and then we're just gonna play the Killer on the last 3 Dawn. Don't really need to reset anything. So this guy returns an 8 cost back to hand, and I think it returns 2 things, so that's pretty annoying. He does have this guy as far as being able to block here. I think we can just Kobe it if we really wanted to. I'm just deciding what I want to do. I think I should have went 6 here. I think I should have went 6 there. This is just a little less efficient in the way that is the way that I'm going about this. I think he's just gonna block. We're just gonna lose that. We can restand him, and then put a Dawn underneath, play the Bonnie out as well if I really wanted to. But I have the Paradise Waterfall, so if I really wanted to, I can just block with Killer, block with Borsellino, restand the Borsellino, and then go from there. But it looks like he's gonna Kaido 9-drop, pop my Killer probably, rush in with these guys. But that's why Paradise Waterfall is so good, because now he's gonna swing with leader. I can take the big boys as far as the attacks, but Borsellino can protect me from these other attacks first, or the leader attack that is. And I can still block with my Killer, get the block or get the draw, which we do, and then anything else he can just swing at. It's not that big of a deal. And there you go. That's the entire game for that one. I mean, it's really annoying, I would say, to go against blue as black, because they can just bottom deck everything, even if you have the protection between the Don Quixote and then the Borsellino. It's just really annoying, that part. But outside of that, I don't think you're gonna have too much of an issue just in general. Just playing out on your curve and then just using the options that are presented to you. All right, next up is Rebecca, another one. I think I played this guy before too, but this is a going second game as well. I think you do want to go a second. Most of your cards kind of call for it, even the odd number type of cards like Kobe and things like that. But this one is a little interesting. I think we can go 5, play the blocker, go 5 again, and then just have killer set up for later, basically. Because I think in order for them to get rid of my brand new, they had to commit. Well, it's just dead. Never mind. I was gonna say they had to commit some Dawn in order to swing with it, but he's just gonna remove my killer. A bit of a roundabout way to do it, but that's kind of how Rebecca plays out sometimes. We're gonna go ahead and Sakazuki the 4-drop, get rid of the Kobe. I like the other cards in my hand better. A lot of other 2-drops and etc. And I mean, retrospect, of course, we could have just used Susuru to get rid of the Luffy with Sakazuki. This one's a pretty good one. I have 4 Dawn, so it's kind of a little awkward. We can probably swing 5s here. I think swinging 5s is probably best against Rebecca. She can't really clap back as well as literally any other leader, just because she can't swing. So restanding one of my bodies and not really worrying about that is good. You might use the Luffy in order to I'm petty. Okay, usually I'm petty, and I discarded 2 cost or 2k, and the reason why I do that is because I'm at 4 life, so I haven't taken any damage, and I mean I rather do that. Downside of this is that Luffy can restand, and he can also swing into my Bonnie, which he doesn't. You put a lot into that guy, and that's annoying too. We can use 1 under our leader, and as well as Susuru in order to get rid of that Luffy with X-Drake. And we're just gonna go ahead and swing 9. I mean, she's gonna be at 0, so I'm still at 4 life. I still don't see what people see in Rebecca, honestly, but the cool thing about this is that we can get back our 1 cost, our 2k 1 cost with Trafalgar Law, and then play out something actually useful, or not just play out anything, just use it as a 2k later on. I was reading the card, I was like, wait, yeah, you can. I thought it was just a Luffy. I was very much wrong. Okay, cool thing about this is now we just have to do some decent math in how do we want to use our starter deck Law. And we can be pretty how could I say this, pretty lax about everything for this. I can be also petty and play 2 starter deck 2 starter deck Laws, but in order to actually win the game, it's probably best just to restand and then swing 11 again. So most likely they didn't really, I mean, some decks like red decks can probably get out of this. Most likely she really didn't have very many 2Ks in hand. And even if she didn't, I would probably dwindle down their hand quite a lot. And then the following turn, I was probably fine to win. All right, next up is going to be against Green Purple Doffy, which is going to be the rematch, I guess, because I won against the Issho in my Green Purple Doffy deck. And I guess it's just the run back, so I can actually win as Issho. And yeah, we did start out with a brand new, which he ended up resting and swinging into, and I retaliated to get rid of that sugar as soon as possible, because it is a problem card for sure for a lot of different decks. Like if they can swing into my Kuzan after I play it, or if they swing into my Sakazuki, that type of thing, it gets pretty annoying overall. And you know, I'm very tempted to get rid of this Nami, which I think I do with my Kobe. And honestly, just making sure I swing as much as possible and put the pressure on is awesome. And really, you know, in this, I guess it just depends. In my mind, I would like to have a turn or something to do in each and every turn. Which for this turn, you know, I have a perfect amount of Dawn to go ahead and swing 7 again. because he doesn't seem like he likes that. He can use one of these 2 counters in order to get out of it. That's most likely what's going to happen. Yeah, Spider's Web, and then Guild is just Sakizuki food, honestly. We're running lower on cards because we are using the Kobes and as well as the Sakizukis to remove. This is the downside to some of this, but it isn't that big of a deal since we haven't really taken too much life, and we will likely have a better board because of it, and a lesser board for them. I was just deciding how I wanted to approach this. I think I want to swing as much as possible. Swing with the Kobe is important because he can just Uta block and then just rest it. And I can just restain it at the end of the turn, which is nice. Either way, I guess. And I went ahead and just play the 8-drop into the 5-drop, which is just another attacker. I wanted to play the Borsellino, but I didn't think there was really any point. Not only because I wanted to be more aggressive, but Uta just rests down my Borsellino. I don't know why he didn't attack here. That's the only thing out of this game that I didn't understand. He could have attacked with the Nami and as well as the leader, but I think what his thinking was he's just gonna lose it. But I mean, I only had 2 attacks here at the end of the day. Well, 3, I guess, with Kobe. Just doing the math here, I think 6 was just the number I wanted to pick because I wanted to use Borsellino, and then I didn't want to unuse or not have the last non unused, just to re-stand my 5-drop law. And then we're just waiting on our opponent, but we have 2Ks all over the place. A blocker to get rid of, or to block against something. Probably the Doflamingo, the 10-drop. And I'm pretty petty here because I like to protect some of these the things that they may not think I would protect. Simply because it's just one less attack to my Sakizuki or my 8-drop here, including my leader, of course. And I do protect it with the last 2 because I value more of my bigger swings, so the 8-drop and the 6-drop, because I need those swings to pressure down his leader, get rid of these blockers, etc. He does Punk Gibson, which is pretty annoying because Borsellino is rested. Like against green, black, well, just Borsellino, I guess, is just super annoying to deal with. And then we have these 2 attacks against Nami, and then too bad we don't have an X-ray because then we can just punish him for wasting his blockers on those. But I don't think Nami was that important. I think you can use your blockers to get rid of my guys here. But he is doing the thing, which is 6 into my law, which I don't really mind losing. I'd like to keep these guys instead. And the other 2 attacks I can just block. So the law goes away from the 10-drop Doffy. And the leader Doffy comes down with 8 for my Borsellino block. Yeah, I mean, in order to really end this game, I needed those guys there in order to basically make sure that I have enough firepower. I think 9 was fine here because he could have a 2K in hand. But I went 10 here in order to bait out the block, because if he just had like a 2K and if he didn't draw anything good from life, then that would be pretty bad for him. And I think I decided right here because he did block, he did have not enough, or didn't have he didn't have enough basically for the rest, and he disconnected. So couldn't even say GG. If you guys are playing or see me, please say GG at least, man. Dang, I thought it was a pretty good game outside of this non-swing turn, but whatever. We ended up winning that one on the back of the 8-drop and as well as the 6-drop. Maybe Kuzan might be a little bit better here, so that way I can actually get rid of that 10-drop a lot easier. It also could be a little bit better if I just saved the Kuzan and Sakizuki for those bigger threats. But honestly, keeping away those Namis, especially how he's protecting them, seemed like to be the right move. So let me know what you think in the comments below. That's all I have for this guy. And be sure to check out the beginner guides and as well as the deck profiles that I've been posting. And I'll see you in the next one.